Welcome to Beef Cattle Institute's Ask the Experts, where our experts answer your questions. I've got two great experts here today to answer a listener question. Dr. Brian Lubers.
Good morning, Brad.
And Dr. Bob Larson.
Good morning.
So we're happy to have them here. Always happy to get your questions as well. If you have questions for us, you can send them to us at bci@ksu.edu. And when they provide the answer, they get a score, up to 10 points for their answer. In this case today, I think this is a really good question and pertinent to this time of year. When should I have my cattle preg checked? And I'll give you guys two options. Early, which I'm going to define as anywhere between 25 and 50 days of gestation, or mid-gestation. Brian, I'm going to you first.
So I'm gonna go with early, and part of that is just being a veterinarian. Actually, it's easier. If I'm doing an early preg check, I am a lot more accurate with my dating of those fetuses, and so I think that's helpful from the veterinary side. But from the producer side, the benefit to them is it gives you more time to make decisions, right? So if I'm doing it now, I have information now, I can make a decision about those individuals with plenty of time.
Absolutely. We've got time to make those decisions. Bob?
All right, I'm going to answer what I think is a better answer is at a time when I can take action. So, and that may be different a little bit by age. So heifers, so they're pregnant for their first pregnancy, they don't have a calf outside. I probably want to preg check them as early as I can because I'm probably going to move them into being a feeder heifer or something like that. And so the earlier I know that and earlier I can make decisions, the better. For my cows, a lot of times the time I'm going to make a decision is at the time I wean the calves. Because I'm not going to usually, now again, if forage is limiting or something like that and I want to identify open cows, then I'd move my preg check earlier. So I'm going to say when I want to change the status of cows, i.e. identify the cows that are open because they go into a different market. I may keep them around for a while and put some weight on them, but they're managed differently than the pregnant cows.
Okay, so 5 points for Brian and 6 points for Bob, because Bob gave you actually two answers, and you could say he's playing both sides of the fence. But his heifers, you're going to preg check them early. Your cows, you're going to do them late. For both of you, because you both said it had a component of early, I threw out some potential days of what that time frame looks like, 25 to 50 days of gestation, which means we actually may not find all of the pregnancies. So what do you do if the bull was still out there and we're doing early pregnancy checking? So I've got some that could be open or pregnant. How do you manage that aspect, Brian?
Well, and I think that's why it's important to maybe narrow down that time frame a little bit. So you said 25 to 50 days of gestation. Are you talking about from the last day exposed to the bull? Are you talking about where does that point start? And so, we with ultrasound, it's pretty easy to get down to 30 days, probably even a little lower than that. So I think 30 days with an ultrasound is very, very doable, where I would walk away from that preg check feeling pretty good about whether I said open or not open, at least within a 30-day window. So I think you can, if you narrow the time frame down and you have the right tools, you can be pretty accurate and not lose sleep that you miss pregnancies.
Okay, so 7 points for Brian. Bob, I'm going to ask you a little bit different question, because you've talked a lot about front-end loading the breeding season, getting more cows bred early, and pregnancy detection is one of our ways to assess that. Is that better early or late?
Yeah, I really do like being able to kind of build a pattern so that I know how many cows in this group not only got pregnant, but got pregnant in the first, say, 21 days. And in order to do that, because the cows that got pregnant in the first 21 days are the ones that have been pregnant the longest, and I'm actually the least accurate exactly of deciding how long they're pregnant. And ultrasound doesn't help me on the long end, it helps me on the few number of days pregnant. Ultrasound is really useful. A lot of days pregnant, ultrasound doesn't really help me differentiate. And so that's why I do kind of like fairly early, but again, I know that there's a lot of ranches where it's very difficult to gather cattle at, say, 100 days after, so say if you had a 70-day breeding season and I came in here and I pulled the bulls out after 70 days, and then 30 days later I used an ultrasound and to identify. I could build the best pattern. I could really know when cows got pregnant. But that falls at a time of year which is inconvenient for many herds. So I'm going to combine a yes, they're pregnant, no, they're not determination with keeping records on when cows calved. So I still want to know, kind of the pattern that cows are getting. And the reason I want to know this pattern is, am I being optimum? Am I getting the most cows pregnant early possible? And that may take more effort than just preg open.
I feel a victory here.
Yeah, I feel so. Good point, and I think good discussion on this one. Brian ended up with 8 points, Bob with 7. Thanks for joining us.